Cool.
and then we'll go.
Stream is still offline.
Can you hear it? And it's all.
What do you mean? Oh, hang on. It's going live. Yeah.
It's all. See that upper right hand corner's not showing. Whatever.
I can see your face. I can see the trailer. It's all right. It will do.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can we
So,
post somewhere?
well, I. Did you post it up?
Yeah, I posted on my Facebook. I don't know if you want to post it on the
I posted it on my
gaming
Facebook.
enthusiast.
Is that okay?
I'm not asking permission. I'm just telling you that happened.
I don't give a shit, Jacob.
Did you just call me Jacob?
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
That's disorienting. I don't like it.
Come on, Dad.
Hey, there's 2 people watching now.
I don't give a shit about them. Hi, guys.
I don't like it. Do you have do you have it open?
Yeah, I'm actually.
Hey, there's 2 people watching
I don't give a shit about them.
It's just us, I think.
Yeah.
We are the 2 people watching. Do you have it open?
Yeah, I'm actually.
Hey, there's 2 people watching. It's just us, I think. We are the 2 people watching.
Do you have it open?
Huh.
Yeah, I'm actually.
What's up, guys? There's more than 2 now. There's 3.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
We are the 2 people.
We have friends.
So you want to go ahead and get started?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay. Thanks everybody for dropping in. So we really wanted to do an open discussion just based on everything that we saw today for Battlefield, the whole reveal, everything that went down for that. Pretty exciting, I'd have to say. I was just most excited for them to finally reach the fucking countdown clock and show something, and then I'm sitting there waiting and nothing but people on stage talking for God knows how long before they actually revealed something. Where'd you catch the stream at, Jake? Oh, maybe
I just watched it on.
Maybe I should introduce ourselves too. My name's
Yeah.
Greg. I'm the editor-in-chief over at PC Gaming Enthusiasts, and the mysterious voice that you hear on here is Mr. Jake himself.
Yeah.
Jake, where are
And I
you?
write stuff for PC Gaming Enthusiast.
Thank you for being so excited about that.
I'm so excited. But
It
yeah, I
shows.
just watched the stream on YouTube, and I don't know. I was super anxious, and I sat down at my computer because I was like, okay, they're about to announce it, and then they're like, okay, yeah, we're just gonna sit and give you the whole backstory of Battlefield, and it's like, okay, we get it. Yeah, I mean, we're here watching your reveal. Chances are we know your backstory.
You mean like the backstory, like everything?
Yeah, they just went. It was like I think it was like a half hour or something from when they said they were going to announce it till they actually announced it.
Yeah.
Which I guess it's cool. You gotta give people something, but
Well,
Anyway,
I was watching the live feed of comments, and it was just like, wake me up when this is all said and done. Like nothing but Z's going on all over the screen, and I was like, nothing but pissed off people just waiting to see the actual gameplay. You know, they just wanted to see, you know, what the hell is this? And not only that, the image is leaked, not but 45 minutes, half hour before the actual stream started.
right. Yeah, I mean it took a while, but
Yeah.
everyone was just freaking out, saying they wanted to start.
So sorry, I'm taking a smoke break real quick in there. One of the things that I wanted to talk about, like, I think the biggest thing for the Battlefield series, and I think as compared to like Call of Duty, the same thing goes for them as well, is the era. There's always a focus on
Yeah.
when it's occurring. Is it modern? I mean, shit, Modern Warfare 2, um, was and Modern Warfare, Modern Warfare 2 were like the two standalone titles that really elevated the Call of Duty series. And then Battlefield had its, what were we saying, Battlefield 2? I don't go that
Yeah.
far back in history of Battlefield games, but I have been playing, everything in the most current and recent gen consoles. But what do you think of the kind of World War One alternate universe thing?
Well, I mean, yeah. So, like you said, the era is super important to these type of shooters, and it's kind of funny. World War One is such a it's such an if we're looking at like the history of wars, it is so important. Like it changed warfare. It changed how from the way we used to do warfare to the modern age, and no game has really explored that. Uh, games. You had Medal of Honor and Battlefield, who just made World War II games, and then everyone kind of followed suit, and then people started making modern games, and they followed suit, and it seems like everyone's just kind of been running after each other, and it's really good to see someone kind of dive into World War One because it's such a pivotal, it's such a pivotal war. You get this combination of the old and the new, and I think it's really interesting to kind of explore that and to see what DICE is going to be able to come up with, because it's something that I mean, I'm sure there's a few games out there, but no like major releases have really explored what World War One is all about.
And I think that's, I think one of the most important things too, if that you don't often think about, like, we're talking about a video game that's going back and forth to these different eras, and you don't think about, like, we've never really experienced this. Like, no matter how violent, how grueling, the warfare was in these times, no one's ever got to experience this firsthand. And this is DICE giving us as opportunity on the video games medium, the video games platform, to experience something that we're never really ever going to experience firsthand. Well, hopefully. Um, but,
Right.
like, stripped away all of the hyper futuristic kind of stuff that has been implemented, like in the Call of Duty series. And I don't know, I think this is a perfect opportunity to just get back to the basics of it.
Well, right. I mean, you gotta think when you're getting to these shooters, you're exploring a point in history, and I think that was the main attraction of them. And I think that's why the support for futuristic games. I mean, even on the Battlefield side, they had the Battlefield 2142, which wasn't insanely popular.
Uh-huh.
And it's because a lot of the reason that people play these games is because they want to see into the past. If we want to see into the future, we're going to play Halo or we're going to play something else. But it's like we're playing these realistic shooters because we want to, it's there's an interest in history there. And I think DICE is really delivering to their fans in that way because they're exploring World War One, which hasn't been covered before.
Yeah,
So
and then they took it and...
I don't.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't see how this could be. In my book, it's a winner. Like, I don't see how. I have no doubt that it's going to function and be good like a Battlefield game. Hopefully, it's not the same as the Battlefield 4 launch where it was, littered with bugs. Hopefully, they work all that stuff out. But other than that, I can't see this being a loser. I think this game's going to be a winner for sure.
I just feel like Battlefield 4 was the the game everybody forgot. Like, everybody knew when Battlefield 3 was releasing, and I think that was just the epitome of next gen game design when it came to like the PS3 and the Xbox 360. It was really showcasing, a true next gen game. And then Battlefield 4 released, and I remember even getting it free on the PC. I think it was on the PC or Xbox. I forget which of the two had it on Origin, or it was like the free trial of EA Access, and I didn't even play it. I played a couple multiplayer matches, and I was like, dude, I'm just gonna go back to Battlefield 3 on the PC. Like, I was way happier with that. And the
Well,
and the game that really turned me on to the series was Bad Company and Bad Company 2. So
right. Well, I mean, they started doing. I mean, you got to understand between Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 2. I mean, you're talking 6 years, nearly 7 years of time between those two. And that's how DICE used to develop their games. They did a main Battlefield game, they maybe did some stuff in between, and then they released another one, 6 or 7 years later. And they kind of were starting to follow the Call of Duty thing. And I think the fans of the Battlefield series were kind of like, kind of jumping their ass saying, hey, this is not what we want. We come to Battlefield because we don't want a yearly or bi-yearly release. We want something that you guys are going to sit and spend a few years on and be able to crank it out. So Battlefield 4 got swept under the rug because it was just Battlefield 3.5, and not even. I mean, it was littered with bugs upon launch, and the game was barely playable.
My biggest thing right now, especially, is having all this is that everybody can recognize that with the Call of Duty series, and even some of the developers. I forget where I saw it. What some developer made a comment in regards to Call of Duty, and I mean, honestly, looking at this trailer and like what the offering is, and this is everything practically stripped away from the Call of Duty series, from the previous Battlefield entries, and it still took a shit on Call of Duty. Like I don't want to play Call of Duty. I want to play Battlefield. This game made me want to play Battlefield, and for a game to do that in this modern age is extremely important.
Well, sure, yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to rip on Call of Duty because, in all fairness, Call of Duty, there's a few games that like Modern Warfare, Modern Warfare 2, those, and even Black Ops, really, those games were amazing, and they were in and of themselves turning points in kind of the first person shooter, the multiplayer, zombies, all of that stuff was super important. But they've cornered kind of a section of the market that is going to buy the game no matter what. They've cornered a section of the market that says, okay, we're going to buy our yearly Call of Duty because that's the only game we own, and we're just going to play multiplayer until the next one comes out, and then we'll buy that one. It's like, like sports games. There's people who, every year buy the new sports game just because that's the only game they own and that's what they play. But Battlefield's not for those people. I think Battlefield started to try and get into that market, but I think DICE realized this is not who we're catering to. We're catering to the people that they'll wait a little bit more time because they want a good game. And it's good to see DICE get back to that they're delivering for their fans, and they're delivering for people who want a good game, not just the next rendition of the game,
Yeah, and I can see that too, like just in DICE's general development cycle overall. I mean, you can look at games like Mirror's Edge. I mean, the most Catalyst has been pushed back I don't know how many times, but I'm not disappointed in that. I know, even going back and playing the original Mirror's Edge and just thinking like, my God, like how ahead of its time was this game, not only in terms of graphics, but look at the physics engine behind it.
Oh my God. I mean, Mirror's Edge, I'm a little off topic, but Mirror's Edge gets such a bad rep, and I think it's a great game.
I think it was realistic in 60% of it, but you have to understand that there's a certain art style that's behind the game that has these vivid colors, that you're in this kind of different future where there's over policing, and I think it just kind of speaks to that in an art style manner versus in a gameplay manner. But then you have this free runner who's out there, and I think that kind of tweaking that more and still elevating that same development design behind it, and looking to the graphics to propel the game to the next gen. I think DICE is 100% going to capitalize that on Mirror's Edge Catalyst being a finished full product that's completely gone through the development cycle and that they're happy releasing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think and that's important that they're getting back to how they used to be. How there's a lot of developers out there who are totally okay with just sitting and cranking out games before they're ready to launch, because I mean that's how they're going to make their revenue, and that's fine. I'm not. There's a lot of people who are kind of opposed to developers and publishers making money. I'm not. I'm all for it. If you want to make money, by all means do it, but deliver a product that's good. And it's awesome to see EA and DICE getting back to that. It's awesome to see that, you know, there's a developer out there who's listening, you know, and who hears the fans and says, okay, you know what, we're not just going to crank this out because we're trying to make revenue. We're going to give you guys something that's worth it, you know. And there's only a handful of developers left who will do that.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna go ahead and play the trailer right now.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
But even like I think like even the choice in song,
Oh,
you
yeah.
got White Stripes bumping in the back, and it's like kind of a
Come on, then!
White Stripes is a really good choice.
Move forward!
It's hard for me to think that this is all in engine. That's so
there's so many things going on too.
good. Right.
Like there's so many. You think, you know, maybe going back in time would be a bad thing, but they're just utilizing, you know, kind of different mechanics in terms of like the gameplay. There, you know, you saw a locomotive blow up. You saw biplanes, you know, humming around. You saw people on horses, and I remember a buddy of mine just posted on Facebook a little bit ago some of the armor plating and like a rail gun that an enemy was using. But like I want to talk about like the combat of it all, and I think that's the part that DICE at this point I think has probably figured out to a T how it's going to work, and this is just them showing, you know, almost close to final product. It has to be. I mean, we're looking at October for a launch date, you know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the combat, I think, again, you know, they're going to revolutionize combat in this war sense. You know, you see horses, you see swords, you see trains, you know, you see zeppelins, you see all sorts of stuff that you've never really experienced in these games. And it's going to be really cool to see how they implement that, because it's really ballsy if you think about it, because there's no
Ballsy?
comparison.
Did you say
You know?
ballsy?
It's ballsy, yeah.
That got some cojones, man?
They got some cojones. Yeah. Well, it is, because, you know, they don't have a reference point. You know, you can look at these other shooters, and you can look at the modern ones, and you can look at the World War II ones, and you can be like, okay, what do they have, and what can we get, and all that stuff. And they don't have that. They have to go and say, okay, we're gonna do horseback, you know, sword combat. Okay, what are you gonna? I mean, maybe chivalry, maybe, but like there's, you know, like there's not a whole lot to look at, and it takes.
But to me, that says one thing. That says we don't give a shit what you think the first-person shooter genre is. We're gonna like turn it on its head and do something completely different, because we as DICE dictate what a first-person shooter game should be, and it shouldn't be, you know, Call of Duty Modern Warfare every year, Call of Duty Futuristic Warfare.
Right.
And I mean, the Call of Duty franchise vacated World War II. Why they started World War II, I don't know. Maybe they don't have little imagination. But I shouldn't even say that, because Infinity Ward for the Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2, right? Was it Infinity Ward behind Modern Warfare, the first one? But I know, you know, the whole debacle with Modern Warfare 2, and that's when, you know, things didn't really make sense to me anymore, and when I stopped playing the games. I have picked it up intermittently, but I have not purchased a Call of Duty game since Modern Warfare 2.
Oh yeah, me neither. Yeah, I mean, Modern Warfare 2 was great. I know some people rip on it, and it kind of gets a bad rap, but I think, you know, they took Modern Warfare, you know, Call of Duty 4, and I think in Modern Warfare 2 they elevated it, and they were just stagnant after that. And, you know, that's the thing, is it's like, it's not about. That's what DICE is saying right now. They're going back to their guns. You know, they have always revolutionized first person shooters. You know, they were there with 1942. they weren't the first, but they were one of the first games to do modern combat. And now they're going back and they're saying, you know what? No, we're not gonna play by the rules. We're gonna go back. We're gonna do World War One, and we're gonna change it up. And I think more than anything, it's just finding a space for themselves and challenging themselves to put out a good game. And I think that's so important because so many, like I said, before, so many developers are not focused on just putting out a good game. So many developers are focused on, when can we crank this out? What do we have to compare it to? So on and so forth. And it just needs to be about, hey, let's make a good game. And I think DICE is going to do that.
So, you say, and I feel, and don't get me wrong, I have the same sentiment. Like, we're going to go out and make a good game. And I know what it's going to boil down to, and it's going to be, of course, the combat. I saw something else today in regards to having, they took the whole design away from the focus on the guns. I know I might have been last E3 but the E3 before, there was such a huge focus on EA and their guns. And then they had the whole Sandy Hook thing, and then they took all the labels away from them, and then DICE basically said we're going to make a game and not necessarily have to pay the royalties or whatever it is to have these guns manufactured and showcase them in the game. So when it boils down to it, when you get back to World War One, and we're talking about like the different types of combat back then, I think that's going to be the main focus of the game. When you think about it, everything's stripped away. It's more intimate. It's trench warfare. There's some like offshoots into different timelines. And then Francis in here, World War II and Vietnam War wars still heavily referenced in today's culture, so it makes sense to develop games that take place in that time period. Totally agree. And like I said before, we've never been able to experience it, but we know about it. And the same thing for combat. How, you can watch movies like, I think it's called the Battle of Gallipoli, and it was all focused on trench warfare and how, graphic it was. People had trench guns, and it was close quarters combat. And I think they can really, really capitalize on that factor by just focusing on the intimacy of combat. I think that's the only way that they're going to win the wider audience over. And when it's not fast paced, maybe it's a fine line in there. And wow, I just said a lot of things in like 5 minutes right now. Yeah. You should have just said, Greg, shut the fuck up.
No, it's good. It's like, no, you're right. And it's gonna be interesting to see because, like I said, the only reference they really have is like Chivalry, which I love Chivalry. Chivalry is,
Chivalry's dead. It's dead.
It's dead, right? Oh yeah, totally. But no, it's a game that it's revolutionary, and I think that's why so many people play it is because it's unexplored. But the combat is a little clunky, and that kind of adds the charm to it. So it's going to be interesting to see how they're able to, if some guy's using a sword and another guy's using a gun, how are they going to be able to work that out? And it's going to be interesting to see how DICE does that.
You know what I just thought about, too? We were talking about Mirror's Edge.
Yeah.
Think about the hand-to-hand combat in Mirror's Edge.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's like all the guns are stripped away, and it's nothing but mostly defensive tactics.
Right.
I
guess I'm coming from a multiplayer standpoint.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would be your ideal multiplayer, then, in terms of this Battlefield? What would be your ideal? I've heard talks that there are going to be 64-player multiplayer. What does that look like?
Yeah, okay, so Battlefield is they have to nail the multiplayer. That's what they're known for. That's their origins. I think that large scale is definitely what they should go for. 64-player multiplayer, stuff like that. But it's not a matter of cutting things out or excluding certain types of weapons. It's just a matter of balancing. And I think more than ever, this is going to push team play more because Battlefield's always been a team play. You have to work with your team to succeed. And so I think this is, kind of having the way that you have swords and you have maybe Zeppelins and you have all these different things going on. You have the close quarters trench warfare. You have all this different stuff going on. having that in place, it's going to put more of a focus on team play. So as long as DICE can kind of section these different positions off and kind of say, okay, you're going to be doing this, you're going to be doing this, and give everyone a role, then it's just a matter of how well those teams are able to work together. And if I think they definitely have the potential to pull it off and to make it incredible, but it's going to be difficult because there's a lot going on.
Yeah, and I think like one of the biggest things that we saw in the let me see if I can get back to it.
Play it first on Xbox One with.
And of course, they have to be at a certain aspect, the emphasis on making money is there. Why else would they promote it on Xbox One, play it first through EA
Right.
Access? But the biggest thing from the trailer, which I froze the screen on, is the giant Zeppelin, coming overhead.
Yeah.
But think about how that could play out. I mean, if you're with a team of people and this is like 64 people on the map and it's just all-out warfare and you're come humming in a giant Zeppelin and you guys are all firing, you have paratroopers jumping out. I think in the opportunity for it to explode and just engulf in flames, I think there's so many possibilities with what we perceive World War One as, with what they can implement because of this alternate timeline.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's a lot more richness to the combat than we think there's going to be.
Yeah.
And like you said, they need to nail it.
Oh yeah, I mean that's it. It has to be that way. It's
Were you there?
yeah. I mean it's I just thought of this. I think what would be interesting to see is if, like you said, the Zeppelin's blowing up. There was a lot of stuff. There was a lot of new technology in World War One, and so a lot of stuff could go wrong, and a lot of stuff did go wrong. And so hopefully they kind of implement those everything going wrong scenarios. I mean, they're known for their destruction and all that stuff, so it makes sense that they would. But if they implement that stuff, it's going to be some chaotic multiplayer.
Like even and I hope that they do the little things, like if I don't know necessarily the physics behind shooting a Zeppelin with a machine gun or
Right.
shooting it with a low science revolver pistol, or if they had semi-automatic pistols back then. I'm not even sure of it. Like, I don't know my history that well. But if you fire enough rounds into a giant Zeppelin, does it explode automatically? Does it lose air because it's full of bullet holes? And I
That's true.
think there's going to be a lot of strategery, a lot of strategy behind it, and I think it's going to play into DICE's favor when it comes to those aspects. So we already kind of touched on this, but the development cycle. What were your thoughts for? I know you mentioned it before. I think before we went live, but what were your thoughts on Battlefield Hardline?
It was good. I'm a, like I said before we started streaming, I'm a big Payday fan, and I think it was kind of
The candy
kind of a
bar
rip-
or the game?
the game, and I think that it was kind of ripping on Payday.
Okay, I can
Um,
respect that.
but at the same time, it was cool. It was an interesting take, but it wasn't a main Battlefield game. And I think I don't think DICE intended it to be.
So
I
what was
think
it though? What was it in their development cycle that would produce such a game?
See,
Do you think it was half done?
I could see that. Yeah, I played it a little bit. I didn't play too. Like, I never bought it. I played it on an Xbox with my buddy had it. I think it was some sort of like discount or free or something.
Uh-huh.
And the little I played of it, it was just meh. It wasn't that it felt half finished. It felt half-assed. It felt finished and it felt fine. It kind of just was out there and existed. It wasn't great. It wasn't horrible. It was just okay. It was the single player, no. Multiplayer, eh. And I guess I'm assuming the reason why they released it was just to have something, because I think originally they had intended it just based on the marketing and everything they put behind it. I think originally they had intended it to be a main Battlefield game. I think it looked from the marketing, the way they pushed the game, it looked like, okay, we're gonna make this a main Battlefield title, and it didn't feel like one at all. And I think Dice kind of learned their lesson from that, and I think are going back to the route. I don't know their intentions behind it, but I don't think it was a good game.
I honestly, my sentiments in regards to it, or it could have gone two ways. It could have been a complete expansion for Battlefield 3 or Battlefield 4,
That probably would have been better.
or they're under the same mindset as the Call of Duty franchise, which is can you have two Dice games that coexist in the same realm, and that's a iteration that is out there to make money and to get the additional funds needed to produce a large scale game along with a large scale game. Have these two. I mean, if you slap the Battlefield title on a game like Hardline, people are expecting a certain quality. They're expecting a certain type of game, just like you said. From the marketing, it looks like a Battlefield game. But then when you actually play it, it's like everything's stripped away from the Battlefield game, and it kind of feels like Payday and Battlefield mixed together. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of felt like ideas that they wanted to still publish, and who knows, EA could have been at the point where they're like, give us something, and they're like, okay, we'll do our best to give you something in the meantime.
Yeah, I think that if you look at the other spin-offs that Battlefield's had, they had Vietnam, they had Battlefield 2 Modern Combat, which was horrible. uh, Actual Battlefield 2 was good, but the Modern Combat spin-off thing, I think it was for consoles, was terrible. 1942 is okay. Or 1942. 1942 is amazing. 2142, I mean, was okay. But what I'm comparing it to is the Bad Company series. I think that their original intention for this was to go in another Bad Company direction. Those other spin-offs were kind of expansions, not really full games. They were like games. They were like, okay, we're going to kind of expand on this thing we've already created. And Hardline wasn't that. I think they were trying to pave their own path again, but I think they just kind of, like I said, kind of half-assed it and didn't really take enough time to come up with enough ideas to pave their own path from it. And so it turned into, like I said, a Payday Battlefield thing,
Yeah, and honestly, I maybe that was just to keep us busy in the meantime and keep EA selling Battlefield titles. We didn't see any Bad Company 3.
Yeah, I was going to say, develop Bad Company 3.
I don't even remember what happened at the end of Bad Company 2. But I remember before it came out, I was super excited about Bad Company just because, squad-based combat. You had, 4 people in your troop, and it was kind of all these characters that clicked and worked together. And it just, and the kind of comedy behind it, and the realness of war, and it was kind of a silly story, but it just kind of worked. And
Yeah, it worked really well.
yeah, and I really wish that they would, get on their high horse and deliver us Battlefield 1, and then get back into the roots of what made the Battlefield franchise so good, and that was now inclusive of Bad Company. I don't think they should stop making Bad Company games. I don't even know if DICE was honestly the development studio behind the Bad Company series, but I just like saying that it is. So
yeah. Bad Company was great. And I think it just takes planning, and I think it takes thought. It felt like Hardline didn't have a lot of thought put into it. The Bad Company games, again, like you said, it was this kind of funny but still realistic game. Like it was blending the two things together, and kind of in a way at certain points in the game where you kind of felt for these characters because they were characters you could relate with. And that was a different thing because in most of these games, they try and make them all serious and cinematic and stuff like that. But in the Bad Company games, you related to these characters. They were funny, they gelled well together, and you were able to kind of to get involved in the story. And most games you can't get involved in the story. And again, taking a different route, they took this modern thing and they're like, okay, we're going to focus more on the story of it. We're going to push it in this direction. And it took thought. It took them sitting down in a room, some sort of brainstorming room probably, and saying, okay, we're going to try something different. And Hardline was not that. They're going to try something different for Battlefield, but it wasn't something different. It wasn't something that we haven't seen before. And I think that's why I'm so excited about this, is because, again, they're getting back to, we're gonna find our own way, and we're gonna make something different.
So, and that kind of brings you back to this whole development cycle and the franchises that EA has on their hands, and they had the whole Danger Close going after the Medal of Honor series, and then Medal of Honor Warfighter, which I have to say this. I was lucky enough to be invited by EA out to EA LA and contribute part to their multiplayer for Medal of Honor Warfighter. I actually had a lot of fun playing the game, even after the fact. It wasn't received necessarily well, but it was that should have been EA's answer to the Call of Duty franchise. Should have been their having Medal of Honor Warfighter or Medal of Honor as their flagship series, to combat that. And then Battlefield should be once every other 3 or 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, whatever. Because it was the fast-paced game. It was the multiplayer game that you jumped online for 5 or 6 games and could go to bed and be happy. Whereas Battlefield, you're going to spend a significant amount of time in a multiplayer match because it's freaking huge, but it's well done and you don't mind spending that time in there. There's so many tangents that EA can take with this first-person war shooter game genre. And they should just stick to their guns in terms of what they develop and for what channels. You can keep developing the Crysis series of games, or publishing the Crysis series of games as like your futuristic shooters. Then you have Battlefield with your realness, and then stick to Warfighter as your intermittent release of games to answer to the Call of Duties out there, because Battlefield is by no means any way relatable to Call of Duty, and this is my own opinion. Call of Duty, it sucks. Like I know that there's people out there. It's not for me, but I know there's people out there that are really adamant about playing it every time it's released. But it's just so watered down and overdone, and the engine. Look at the comparison to the two in-game engines that you see here and the one that they just released for Call of Duty. It's night and day. There is a visible difference.
The Call of Duty trailer, I'm sorry, but it was so boring. It was just so anticlimactic. Like, you saw, it was like this big thing was happening. It just looked terrible, and you're like, this is gonna suck. Like, it's not even kind of hype. It's just, it looks horrible.
Let me see if I can pull it up real quick.
I'm sorry, but it's just it's something where, like, I watched the trailer. To be completely honest with you, I wrote it up and I pushed it out there and stuff. But I watched that trailer and I was like, okay, who approved this? Like, who thought this was okay? And I'm not trying to say that as a joke. I legitimately mean, like, if I was some sort of like studio head, I would be like, there's no way. Like, go redo it. Like, there's absolutely no hype. There's no anticipation. It killed everything.
They're like, Call of Duty's like Nikes. You can slap a Nike symbol on anything and it's going to sell.
Oh, it's just lazy. It's plain lazy.
I have it pulled up on the stream, but like, I don't even think I watched it. I just remember seeing snippets of it.
Oh, you have it pulled up?
Yeah, and
yeah.
I see certain things in it, and I'm like, there's certain elements of realism, like when they do the whole like heat vision or like night vision, and these like portions of cinematic um, gameplay. But then you get to the actual in-game engine, and this is the same shit that we've been seeing for the past 10 years of Call of Duty. It is this the exact, like, I understand there's a certain, you know, Battlefield has the Frostbite engine, but the Call of Duty engine is so old, and all they do is add, better textures every year, but it's still the same shit. Like, I don't understand, how you can continue having fun with this.
Well, and it just, again, it looks cheesy. Like, just, you saw that guy just die. It's like, it looks cheesy. You see all the people falling, and there's no, that explosion looked horrible. That explosion looked horrible. It's like,
those textures are muddy. Wow, look at that vehicle explosion with this weird electricity around it.
Right, and it's, you know what, to be honest with you, I'm one of those people that's like, okay, graphics aren't everything. It's about the game, it's about the gameplay. Graphics shouldn't be about it. But the fact of the matter is, they're trying to do something. They're trying to make it look modern and cinematic and crazy and all this stuff, and look at all this crazy things that we're doing. And it's like, if you're going to do that, you have to play with the big dogs. You have to compete. And they are not competing. This does not look like a modern cinematic shooter experience. And then, of course, they go into space.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Talk about that.
But that's what I was going to say. If you want to compete in this market space of realistic first-person shooters or that are based in the modern age, like, you're going to be going up against, the Battlefields of the world, and Battlefield by far is the better choice. If you want to play a realistic, okay, wow, broke his neck. Like, you are in space breaking people's necks. Like, this, it just looks stupid to me. It's in the character models up close. Like, yeah, you can make him look like Kevin Spacey or have him as voice acting in the game, but it looks the same shit as it did on the last generation with, like, poor lighting effects, and, like, it's so, like, I just want to gag myself and throw up right now.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and then you got the Titanfall guys. Looks like Titanfall.
Hey, you do not talk shit on Titanfall. I love Titanfall.
Oh no, I love Titanfall. I think Titanfall's good, and if there's anything that should be competing with Call of Duty, I think it's Titanfall.
And I'm not gonna lie, when I first played Titanfall, it felt like Modern Warfare 2. It felt like the same similar engine in Modern Warfare 2, but better. And I have no doubt that Respawn is gonna. I mean, they're ex-Infinity Ward heads. They're gonna take what they did best in the Call of Duty series at the time and elevate that. I feel strongly about that, and with them taking the reins on the Star Wars game, but the Infinity Ward that keeps making Call of Duty games can go suck it. I mean, it's trash. It's the same shit every year. I honestly don't get it anymore.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest with you, it's the same date. I mean, it's literally to be clear, my birthday is November 5th, and this comes out November 4th.
Guess what you're getting for your birthday?
And every single year. Sorry, I had to turn down my mic a little bit because it was kind of blaring. Every single year, it's either a day before or a day after. Every year. Every year, it's Call of Duty, and I guess this isn't. I'm not trying to rip on Call of Duty or anything like that. It's just people compare them so much, and I don't think it's a fair comparison because you're comparing things that shouldn't be. Yes, they are both, multiplayer focused shooters, but especially on the PC side, I mean, we have Counter-Strike, we have Natural Selection, we have so many shooters. And it's not a fair comparison because, again, as I said earlier in the stream, Call of Duty is like a sports game.
Yes.
I mean, it is. That's their marketing. I mean, that's their business model. Is they're going to release it like a sports game. And hey, it's working for them, and that's fine. I'm not opposed to them making money. If that's what they want to do, and if people are buying it, go for it. But it shouldn't be compared to Battlefield because Battlefield is in a different realm. It's just in a different realm. And Call of Duty seems like they keep reaching for it, and they're not going to get it. They're not going to get on that same level because you can see that it's lazy. You can see that it doesn't care. Watching that trailer, you go, okay, no one cares about this. They put a lot. It seems like they put more effort into that stupid 30-second teaser than they put in that trailer. I mean, do you agree? Like, it looks like they put more effort into that.
But I can see, like, even, you say sports games and you reference sports games, and it's funny because EA is the one that owns EA Sports is the one that produces a Madden every year,
Right.
and because they have the exclusive rights over it. But then you look at games like, from was it Konami that makes PES, and then you look at FIFA, and there's loyalty behind each of the camps because I mean, it's a little bit more finite because you can only do so much with real soccer or football. But I mean, in terms of like the first-person shooter realm, like you have so much more room to move around. And what Activision and Infinity Ward have done is stick to the same thing year after year. And I just, again, like, I don't get it. I don't get what the reasoning is behind it to churn out trash. And I don't care who hates me for saying that. Like, I have not picked up a Call of Duty game since, and I just don't see why anybody else does. And they haven't changed their formula at all. Yeah, they have like a crazy, all over the place campaign. You're going into, fucking space and all that shit. But what are you playing when you actually get into the gameplay? Black Ops is very similar to Advanced Warfare as any other game out there. I just don't get it.
Yeah. I'm going to have to disagree with you a little bit because I think that sports games have space to move. We've seen sports games move in the past. You have, like, NBA Street. I forget. There was some crazy baseball game.
Well, MLB The Show is a different story.
Not the show.
I really wish 2K would bring back their series, but...
It was game. You could light. Like when you threw a baseball, it could catch on fire, and you could beat the crap out of people running on base, and it was crazy. I forget what it was called.
Was it the Bigs?
No,
the Bigs was like an arcade style, which I had on the Wii. It was an awesome game.
Yeah, that game was really good, but oh gosh, let's see.
Debbie Does Dallas, Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
I'm Googling it right now.
Big Top Pee-wee?
Maybe it was Call of Duty. Maybe it was the show. It might have been the show. I don't know, but it was good. And it's you can have fun with it, and you can kind of play around with the the same thing. Maybe not as much as you can with Call of Duty, but you can.
But I feel like MLB The Show has every right to, continuously make an exclusive baseball game for the PS4. They're good at it. They're extremely, but as of lately, yeah, I can see that they are getting lazy. Like, you should be leaps and bounds beyond the current engine that they're using. And 2K was the first baseball game to implement like the jersey wave and those kind of physics within a game. And I feel like MLB The Show should be so much more farther than where it's at. But they have the right to be there. Call of Duty hasn't done anything innovative in the series since its inception.
Right.
Well, and I say that under the new Infinity. We're not under the Modern Warfare era Infinity Ward.
Right. I just, again, I'm coming back to that. People are judging. I think people are judging Call of Duty in a way that it shouldn't be judged. People are trying to make it something that it's not. And I think, we just kind of need to call it, if people start calling it as it is, maybe they'll deliver something different. And I think people are slowly but surely starting to do that. More and more people are like, okay, I'm not going to buy this garbage. I mean, you can see it. They're releasing the Modern Warfare 4 remaster with it.
Yeah.
Which even that's lazy. I mean, they're sitting acting like it's this big deal. I'm like, that's, they can, they touch up some textures, import it into a new engine, boom, it's out the door in a week. You know, it's not like that big of a deal.
And why
But
are they doing that? It's because you go online and the servers that they used to have for Modern Warfare are flooded with hacks.
oh
And
yeah,
you can't even play the console version because it's just bullshit, and why repackage it and resell it? It's just money at this point.
yeah. And the thing is I don't. Now
I'm not
you
saying,
might be.
EA's is, you know, valiant and should be considered a saint by any means. No. But I don't
I
know.
mean, I guess, and you might be more knowledgeable about this, but are they? Do you know if they're planning on releasing Call of Duty, the remastered Modern Warfare alone, or is it just with Infinite Warfare?
It's only with Infinite Warfare. I remember seeing
Yes.
that.
Yeah, that shows right there that they're losing traction. And I wouldn't be surprised, but next year if they release Modern Warfare 2 remastered, I would not be surprised at all if they did that.
But like, what's the point of that to
Well, marketing, that's all it is. It's just pure marketing.
like Activision is such a huge publisher, I'm sure, and they have monies floating in left and right for microtransactions, and if they're losing money, then they should have done a better job of managing Skylanders. Because look what Nintendo did with Amiibos, and totally capitalized on that market space. And granted, you do see some crossover between Skylanders and Nintendo and Amiibos and all that other stuff, but if they're really hurting for cash, then that's their own downfall. And if they can't take a new direction on the Call of Duty series, then stop making it. I mean, you just
I
got
don't think
shit.
it's that.
You just
I don't
got
think
shit
it's
on
that
by
they're.
EA. Like, you know,
Yeah, they totally. I'll just make it like this, okay? Infinite Warfare was Batman versus Superman, and a Battlefield 1 is Captain America: Civil War, which is a great film. I
don't
just saw it
spoil it.
last night. It was
Stop.
awesome.
You need to stop.
I won't say anything about it, but it was good.
So you can say one thing, and that is, are you Team Cap or are you Team Iron Man?
I'm team. The movie was really awesome.
I'll take Team Spidey. Can I do that?
Yeah, Spidey was good.
That's like the most
I,
thing I'm excited
I won't.
for.
I won't spoil anything about it, but it was really good. This is not that discussion, but it was really good.
Okay. So yeah, we're kind of getting to the end here. I don't even know why I have the the Call of Duty trailer still up with the release date, because fuck
That garbage out of
that. Let's put the Battlefield one back up there. Okay, what I want to do right now is run through the trailer again,
Do it.
and I want you to tell me at the end, day one purchase in October for you or not, and if so, why? If not, why? And I'll do the same. They played it twice today, which I was pretty excited about.
Yeah.
Come on then! Move forward! Get ready, men! Get down!
Can I say one thing too?
Yeah.
That sounds like Gerard Butler in there from 300. At one point
And-
where he says something like, I can't tell what he says
Move forward!
right there, where the tank comes out.
Yeah. It might be. It might be Gerard Butler.
Okay, I played it enough times.
Okay.
Okay. Day one purchase, yes or no?
Man, I'm not a day one guy generally, but I don't know. It's I'll say this. It's slightly under Doom for me.
Okay.
So more than likely, yeah, day one purchase.
I respect that. I respect that. For me, I will say probably not day one purchase, believe it or not.
Mm.
But that is only because I'm gonna find out what console or what platform. You know, I'd be sad to say that I'm the editor in chief at PC Gaming Enthusiast, and I buy it on console. But when it boils down to it,
Oh, you're pathetic.
oh, go to hell. I may buy it on Xbox One. I was kind of disappointed with Battlefront on Xbox One, but the fact of the matter is that's where my friends are playing, and they don't have PCs to play Battlefront on. So lo and behold, that's
Oh,
where I'm
yeah.
going to play it at. I would like to buy it on the PC. I wouldn't say day one purchase, but it'll probably be within the week. So I'll say week one purchase.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I'm locked in. I said Doom. I'm like locked into buying. I'm getting Doom no matter what. Um, this I'm a little bit skeptical just based on the Battlefield 4 launch about bugs. I don't want to buy the game and not be able to play it, but I have confidence in this one.
I will say this for Doom, I was actually very surprised performance-wise how well it performed during the open beta.
Yeah, I didn't
Graphically,
get to
yeah,
play the open
I have a GTX 960, and
beta.
shut your mouth. Um, but I was very impressed, just like with the options and how well it played, being that I had a GTX 960, and that was during the open beta. And yes, there'll be probably more optimization options to come. So, I'm really, and once again, I think I'm gonna pick up Doom on the on the Xbox One. Fuck.
Aw.
That's why I wish there was more, cross-platform purchases, between Xbox One and PC. There needs to be more of that because,
It's because the consoles can't play with the big boys.
but you have to understand in this day and age, it's you're gonna go where your friends are, and if my friends jumped off the bridge, I'd jump off the bridge with them as long as we were all playing on Xbox One. They're on the platform, and I want to play with them. I want to play with my friends, okay?
That's fine. I think for Doom, okay, whatever. Do what you need. No, I disagree. Even with Doom, Doom is a PC game. Doom is a PC game. Like it was a PC game. It's meant to be experienced on PC, and that's that. And
I feel
same
like you're
with
calling out my
frickin-
manhood right now.
I'm sorry, but same with Battlefield. PC game. 1942 was on PC. I
Okay, I'll get Doom on the PC. You twisted my arm.
not to mention, especially with the single player on Doom. The Wolfenstein games.
Wait, did you say Wolfenstein?
Yeah, Did you play Wolfenstein? The new ones,
I didn't play. What was it? Blood.
the old Blood.
The old Blood. What was the most recent Wolfenstein?
They had the New Order, and then they had an expansion for it called the Old Blood.
Yeah, I did play whatever the one was that released on the Xbox 360, and no one else was talking about it at the time, and I
It must have
loved
been a
it.
different one.
I'll look it up right now. I loved it. I had an awesome time. Um, they had was it like the slow motion that you could like tear apart enemies and like shoot them and their body parts were being flung all over the place.
They
Um,
they released one just called Wolfenstein. That was okay. Uh, a while back. I don't know who developed that, but I didn't think it was very good. It was let's see who developed that. It came out in 2009. Activision published it. Raven Software developed it.
oh, see, I'm
I
talking
know.
about the one that was developed by Raven and published by id.
Okay, yeah, you're talking about the 2009 one.
Yeah, I thought that was a phenomenal game.
Yeah,
I had a blast. It
it
took
has nothing on the New Order at all. The New Order was so good.
but I mean, like, even that old formula of like first-person shooters, like the boss battle at the end, like if Doom can consistently and efficiently replicate that, like I'm all in, and I've already seen that within the demo or within the open beta, and I know a lot of people, were kind of all over the place with it, but I actually enjoyed it. Um,
I have no doubts about it. Again, just based on what Bethesda did with the what Bethesda did with the New Order and the Old Blood, Machine Games and Bethesda, I should say.
mhm.
I have no doubt because those games, those are, I play a lot of shooters, and I love Half-Life. I love. There's so many great shooters out there. Those are some of my favorite shooters. They're up there.
Yeah.
I think Doom's going to be like that too, and hopefully Battlefield 1 will be like that too. Hopefully I'll be able to, I'm the guy who, when I got my first PC, I bought 1942. I bought the complete collection with Vietnam and everything, and I played the hell out of that game. Even years and years after releasing, there was still people on servers. It was still a ton of fun. It reminded me a lot of Counter-Strike. There's people there just always going to be playing that game, and hopefully, man, hopefully they can do that with one, because I think they have the potential to. I think DICE has the potential to do that, and hopefully they capitalize on that.
Yeah, and this is their opportunity to start over back at one and, do, recreate the formula that they're good at.
Literally start back at one.
Yeah. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to wrap up this conversation about Battlefield 1. What was the release date on it? October 1st is what we're looking at? No, October 21st.
Okay.
So we're looking at October 21st for Battlefield 1. There's a whole nother conversation to be had in terms of the Harlem Helldiver, or is it Helldivers or Hellfighters? I need to brush up on my history. But that part of the DLC pack, the combat, I mean, we've seen horses, we've seen biplanes, we've seen, all sorts of shit within the Battlefield realm. For both of us, it's going to be, if not day one purchases, week one purchases. But let us know what you think in the comments below. If you'd like us to keep doing more videos like this, please subscribe. We look forward to seeing you online. And don't forget that we are going to be at E3 this year. We just wrapped up our own Enthusiast Gaming Expo. If you were lucky enough to be in Canada, EGLX had some of the biggest tournaments out there. But we're going to be, again, on the show floor for E3 this year. Look forward to bringing you whatever we can, keeping you up to date. We'll be attending all the conferences, and, look forward to seeing everything just as much as you guys are. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.